Welcome back everyone to the channel. I hope you're all doing well. We got a big video today. I'm gonna be doing my October Oscar predictions. I've seen a couple more movies now, and these are all just gonna be my personal opinions. Leave your predictions down below in the comments as always. But before we get started, make sure you leave a like on this video, subscribe to the channel. Helps me out a lot. But let's get to our first category, which is Best Animated Feature. I like to start with this one because I like to treat it as cinema. You know, the Oscars, the Academy, they don't really treat it as cinema, but I like to. You know, in first place, I still got Across the Spider-Verse. I kind of got the same top 5 here. I think Across the Spider-Verse, I don't think it's going to be beaten because there's just no way that this movie can be beaten at this point. You know, everyone's been giving it positive reviews. It made a lot of money at the box office, made double the first one. You know, I don't think box office really has too much to do with Oscars. Sometimes it does. You know, sometimes people vote for that one because, you know, it has done a massive achievement for the box office. But this movie's quality is outstanding. I think on Letterboxd it has like a 4.1, 4.2. Rotten Tomatoes really high. You know, all the major film outlets and film critics just gave it like an 8 or 9 or above. I gave it a 10. It's my second favorite film of the year right now. It's so good. I can't believe what they accomplished with this movie. It's just that one where I've just watched it like 10 times this year. It's such an easy watch, so I just still have it in first place. The Boy and the Heron, though, I have not seen it yet, but seeing the reactions coming out from this one, you know, some people have seen it on the festivals. I've seen my friends on Letterboxd watch it. Some of them gave it a 5-star, some of them gave it a 4, some gave it a 3. Some people say it might be a little overstuffed, its narrative, but people are saying that it's beautiful. The animation is outstanding. Miyazaki is doing a great job. We got the English voice cast announced too. Christian Bale's coming back. I know that has nothing to do with the Oscars, but that's pretty cool. You know, they're getting a stacked English cast. I will be seeing it in sub and dub. It's coming out in December, so not too far away, only like a month and a half away. Very excited for this one. I just think it's not going to be able to unseat Across the Spider-Verse. I think it's just not its year. And 3 and 4 could be switched. You know, I'm waiting until I see Chicken Run Dawn the Nugget, but Elemental I still got in third place. I think Elemental is probably the second best animated movie so far this year for me. I just really love the story and the full romance. You know, they went for the full romantic, you know, movie. Pixar usually doesn't go for romance. I mean, some movies, they have a little bit of romance sprinkled into them, but I think this one was their first full romance movie. I love the animation. I thought the animation looked really seamless. And, you know, I felt like the ending was really strong for this one, and the score was really great. You know, I don't really want to move it down to 4, but if I see Chicken Run Dawn the Nugget, that could move up to 3, because I did watch the first Chicken Run not too long ago for the first time, and it's a really good film. I love the stop motion, claymation, you know, kind of animation. Love the story. Very short film. I think this second one is also very short. There's a different voice cast for this one. I don't know if that's going to change anything. You know, it's been many years since the first movie. I think it's been almost 20 years since the first one, so I'm going to see if that's going to make a difference. But, you know, the animation is so stellar in these movies. I probably thinking it's going to get nominated, you know, either way. At 5, I still kept TMNT Mutant Mayhem just because the animation alone. I could end up moving that out, you know, if Wish gets good reviews in November, but I'm kind of waiting for that to come out. I don't think anything else right now is going to really stop Mutant Mayhem until Wish. You know, Mutant Mayhem has some great animation, a great story. You know, I think everyone basically liked it. Some people thought it was a little childish. I did at some parts, but I think everyone mostly liked the movie, and I think it will get that 5th nomination spot just because of that, you know, cool, gritty, animated style of the film. In the race, I have Super Mario Bros. I think I might move that down next month, though. I just have it in there in the race because it did make over $1 billion. It's one of the most successful films of the year. You know, that does kind of have some part to play with it, but I don't think it's really a strong, you know, movie narrative wise. So I'm not going to put it in, you know, the top 5 nomination spots. But Wish I could see moving up, as I said, if the reactions come out for Wish and it's a great film. But the animation isn't really blowing me away. I feel like the animation looks a little cheap, a little lazy. But I know some people put some hard work into that, so I'm not really going to call it lazy. It just looks a little, you know, old for me. It looks like it was animated in like 2010. I feel like that might be a little rude, but I'm just going to wait for the movie to come out, see if the story's good, because that could move into the 5 spot. Nimona, I have it in the 8 spot. I feel like Nimona, it's, you know, it lost a lot of steam. No one's really talking about the movie yet. And I liked it, but I just didn't think it was a great film. I like the animation. I just felt like the animation just wasn't as stellar as some of the ones up top, like Elemental, TMNT. It's just lost a lot of steam because Netflix films always do that. So I don't think it's gonna get into that top 5. But Across the Spider-Verse, I still have it in the 1 spot. Now we got the biggest category, which is Best Picture. Best Picture has 10 nominees usually. Sometimes it changes, like 8 or 9. I saw in the last 10 years. I don't know why they changed it up. I think this year gonna have 10 though. First place I got Oppenheimer still. I haven't changed that one. I don't have too many changes for these. Oppenheimer just seems like the strongest movie, has the biggest narrative, has the biggest and best reviews of the year so far. But that top 3 is very stable, I would say, for these next few months, even though I haven't seen one of them. I think this top 3 is just the best 3 reviewed movies of the year so far. And Oppenheimer, I think, just works as a whole so much. I think it's, Christopher Nolan's magnum opus kind of movie, and it has so many like Oscar scenes in it, that you have like the courtroom scenes, and you have the Trinity test scene, and you have after the Trinity test, so many big Oscar moments in there. I feel like it's just too big for the Academy to ignore. I'm not sure. I don't think a Christopher Nolan movie has won Best Picture, so this would probably be a first for him, which would be pretty cool. I just don't see anything beating it. If this one has been universally loved by critics and audiences, and that's pretty big for Oscar races. We'll see if the other movies are like that. But in number 2, I have Poor Things. I was kind of switching back and forth between putting Killers or Poor Things in 2. I decided to put Poor Things because I think the reviews are a bit stronger, even though this hasn't come out for audiences to see. Critics have seen it. It's screened at Telluride, I think London Film Festival, and I think one other that I'm forgetting. But I just see such positive reviews for this movie. I've seen some negative reviews come out, but I think that's just people that don't like Yorgos Lanthimos' style and all that. And I think this movie tackles some interesting subjects like, gender, women and all that. As I said, I think this is kind of like the Barbie movie, but very, much darker. It includes a lot more sexual activity and nudity. And this one is coming out the same day as The Boy and the Heron, so I'll be able to see it in like a month and a half. So you'll have my thoughts on it in December, which is kind of a long ways away, but not too much, only like 60 to 50 days away, we're soon. But Emma Stone is also going for the Oscar. I'm hoping that, the studios can give the actors a fair deal, so this one can get some proper, promotion, proper campaign. Emma Stone, I hope that she can do like for your consideration, interviews for this movie. We'll just have to see if the studios give the actors a fair wage. But I'm very interested to see how this one plays for audiences because, I'm interested to see if I like it. I feel like I will. Every trailer has done, wonders for me. I think it looks excellent. Everything that I heard, it seems very out there for the Academy, but Everything Everywhere All at Once just won Best Picture last year. So how could this be more out there? It just includes a lot of sex, as I've heard, and it includes a lot of weird things. It's a Frankenstein project, so we'll see. But I think the reviews are a bit stronger on this one than Killers of the Flower Moon. But I think Killers of the Flower Moon is still in that top 3 because it's a very strong competitor. It's a Martin Scorsese film. I just saw this one, so I'll give you guys my small thoughts, but my review is up on the channel. I thought this movie was really legendary, a really epic film, a really big learning experience for me because I didn't really know about this. I read some of the book before going in. I didn't want to know everything, so I didn't read the whole book. And I thought this was just such a tragic story, the Osage, the murders that happened with them. And I really it was kind of a heartbreaking, kind of a dense film to take in, but I think that was needed, to have this full learning experience. The cast did an excellent job. Leonardo DiCaprio, Robert De Niro always bring in such great performances, but Lily Gladstone was really the standout of the film. She's really holding that film together with some pure heart, and she is the one pure soul of the movie because she's basically only the one good person. I mean, you do have Jesse Plemons as the FBI. I think Jesse Plemons did a good job. He's really underrated, I think. And a lot of people don't really, they know him for Breaking Bad, but I would say he's doing great in everything that he does. But as I said, Lily Gladstone did an amazing job. We're going to get to the actors category in a moment. But Killers of the Flower Moon, it's getting great reviews. I'm not sure how audiences are going to love it. I mean, I loved it. It's like top 5 or top 6 of the year for me so far. You know, people are staying away because of the 3.5 hours, but that didn't keep me away. It doesn't feel 3.5 hours. Sure, it feels slow in some parts, but it's a dialogue driven film. It's kind of like a Western, so you're going to get those slow moments, and I really did enjoy it. I'm not a big fan of Westerns, but I did enjoy this one a lot. 4, I have the Holdovers. I'll be seeing this one in about a week or two, so I'll probably give you guys my thoughts in the November Oscar predictions. Very excited for this one. Alexander Payne, you know, he's coming off of Downsizing, which I heard was pretty terrible, but this one is getting some stellar reviews. Everyone's saying like this is, you know, it feels like a classic movie. Everyone's saying like this is their new favorite Christmas movie. They're going to watch it every year. And, you know, it just looks like that from the trailer. You have that film grain, and that's going to be kind of, I mean, you could say that's kind of Oscar baity. I wouldn't really say that though, but that film grain looks very good. You got, it happens during Christmas. You got some great performances in there, and I heard the script is also very great. And 5, I have Past Lives. I just like it to stick it in the middle there. I was almost going to put it down, but I feel like Past Lives is, you know, it's coming back and making a little bit of a resurgence. We're going to see what A24 does with that awards campaign, because A24 can do interviews, I'm pretty sure, because they do have a deal with SAG, so that's gonna be interesting. Anatomy of a Fall, I have not seen that yet. I was gonna watch it before this video, but they did not have it playing at any theaters near me. I thought they said they were going to, but they don't have any playing near me. I hopefully will be able to see that in the coming weeks for the November episode, but I might just have to wait for digital, because Neon never releases too many movies in my theaters, which is kind of upsetting, because I've heard this one is great. Hasn't been getting as many great reviews as the ones above it, but I heard, you know, it's a courtroom drama, has stellar performances, and I really can't wait for that one. 7, I got Barbie. It's a massive achievement for, you know, filmmaking, and it made a lot of money, made like over 1.4 billion, I think. And this one is, I don't know if I want to say that this one's universally loved. You know, I think it kind of is. There's some haters with this movie just because, you know, they're kind of those kind of guys. They hate on this movie just because it's like a Barbie movie, kind of like a women movie. And, you know, I like it. I like what they say on gender politics for this one. Margot Robbie is awesome. Ryan Gosling gives his best performance, I think, to date. Maybe. I think Blade Runner is still his best performance, but I think this one's great. The script is great. All the sets and costumes are really out there. Really like it a lot. Maestro, I have an 8. I'm almost tempted to move Maestro down to 9 because the reactions aren't what I was hoping for. You know, the reactions have been kind of lukewarm. Some people have been giving it like great scores, like an 8 or 9, but I've seen mostly 7s, some 8s, but mostly 7s for this one, which is kind of disappointing. I feel like that one will land in the actor and actress category. I'm not sure if it's going to land very high in the picture category. 9, I put The Color Purple. I'm still holding out hope that this one does get in, but we haven't seen any reviews for this one. It doesn't come out until the end of December. I think it is sticking to that date, so I'm still going to keep it in there, but we haven't seen any reviews for this one come out. I'm surprised they didn't screen it at a festival just to get that early reaction, but we're going to see how that one does. 10, I got American Fiction. You know, American Fiction, it won the award at some festival. I forgot what it was. It was the People Choice Award, and, you know, Jeffrey Wright is getting some big acclaim for this movie. I saw the trailer finally, and it does look really good. It looks very funny. Hopefully the Academy does like it, but, you know, I'm tempted to move it out because I'd love to put something like Across the Spider-Verse, which is still in the race for me, back in. But it's kind of hard to put Across the Spider-Verse back in when you know the Academy is so harsh with animated films. So I'm just going to keep American Fiction at 10. Zone of Interest I have at 12. I can move that in also because that one is getting some pretty good acclaim, but that one is pretty dark. I've heard it's very experimental, which the Academy might not like, but the trailer was so interesting. You know, the trailer is dark. It's a very dark subject they're tackling for that one. Saltburn I have at 13. I don't know if the Academy will like this one, but it looks up my alley a lot. I saw that in a second trailer. It looks really good, so I have it 13. 14, Napoleon. I just don't see this one going in. Maybe in technical categories, but just don't see it. 15, I got Air. I might move that one up a couple more notches next episode, but right now, just feel like Air has lost a little bit of steam. So right now, I feel like the top 3, Oppenheimer, Poor Things, Killers, are basically your best bet for winning Best Picture, but I still have Oppenheimer in first. In Best Actress, I have Emma Stone in first place still. I really couldn't move her down, even though I saw Killers of the Flower Moon. I still think Emma Stone could be the number 1, but, you know, some people have been comparing this situation to like Cate Blanchett and Michelle Yeoh, but I don't really see that comparison too much right now. I mean, I still haven't seen Poor Things, but I feel like Emma Stone just I've heard it's kind of like a fearless and brave role of hers to take. You know, this role is like a Frankenstein role. She starts out like pretty dumb, then she becomes intelligent near the end. So I think that could be really interesting. And I think Emma Stone, she has a high chance to get her second Oscar because she got one for La La Land and now she's going up for this one. But I think it all comes down to if she gets to do an awards campaign, gets to do some interviews for Poor Things to maybe talk about it a little bit more, because she can't right now. But we're going to see if the actor strike does end soon. I'm not sure if it's going to last till 2024. Hopefully not. But Emma Stone, I still have in first. Second, Lily Gladstone, as I said. This is the first movie I've ever seen her in, Killers of the Flower Moon. And as I said, she's the heart of that movie, the pure soul. She has some really good facial expressions in this movie, especially when she's talking like Leonardo DiCaprio. And, her character is sick in this film a lot because Leonardo DiCaprio's character did poison her. And she really did act that out really well. And I thought that having her being the only one who had like a pure soul and like the only good person in this movie was very interesting. And I like that take. She's part of the Osage. The Osage were getting murdered in this time in that film. And so it's very interesting to see her character go through all that, see her expressions, see those big scenes that she has. And it's all going to come down to who is like the big Oscar-worthy scenes between her and Emma. And I think Lily Gladstone, though she gave a terrific performance, she's definitely going to get nominated. It's just going to come down to her and Emma, I think. I mean, Sandra Hüller for Anatomy of a Fall could be very interesting. She could, win. I'm not sure if the Academy would go for that, but she's still my 3 spot. I think she's still going to get nominated because it's a big movie. It's a 2.5-hour courtroom drama, and I've only heard good things from her performance. I haven't heard any bad things, so I'm pretty sure she's going to still get nominated. She's in the middle of the pack. Carey Mulligan, I've been tempted to move her up a position, but I'm still going to wait until Maestro gets a little bit more reviews, because a lot of people have been saying that Carey Mulligan is like the front runner, the number one. I'm not really agreeing with that because Maestro is not that highly reviewed so far, but I think that some people are being a little cocky with that prediction. I think Carey Mulligan will definitely get in. I just don't see her winning because it's just not that kind of film that's just has the best reviews right now. So I still have her at 4. 5, I have Fantasia Barrino for The Color Purple. As I said, no one's seen The Color Purple, but it's one of those movies, a musical, that's definitely going to get some nominations, so you really got to put it in there. In the race, I got 6. I got Greta Lee for Past Lives. I'm hoping that she could maybe get in, but I just don't think it's going to happen, sadly. I think it's too small of a performance for her, even though it is really subtle and is really amazing. I think it's just too small for the Academy to really take in and nominate, so I just don't see it happening. Natalie Portman, I have her for May December. I didn't even have her in here the last prediction, but I did put her in because May December has been getting some fantastic reviews, and I feel like maybe, I'm not going to say that every single actor / actress is going to get in from that movie. I would say it's pretty close because the performances I've heard are spectacular. The movie I heard is pretty great. I've seen like pretty much 8s all across the board, some 7s. But I've heard that the movie is really great and kind of dark at times. And, these characters have some dark moments, which is pretty interesting to see. I'm interested to see a great Natalie Portman performance because I haven't seen her in like one of these kind of like Oscar-worthy films in a while. So I'm very excited to watch this film. I think it comes out in December on Netflix. Margot Robbie, I have an 8 for Barbie. I've talked to people that think she's definitely going to get in. I think the only way she gets in is if they're going off the narrative of it being like the biggest film of the year, 1.4 billion. I just don't think the performance is really that big. I don't think it stands out like the performances would be of like Lily Gladstone and like, Greta Lee and Emma Stone. I've heard just so much chatter about those performances. Margot Robbie, of course, is great, but I don't think that she has so many big moments. I think she has like one big moment in Barbie. I don't think it's really big enough, and I don't think she has enough screen time for her to get nominated. It would be cool, but Best Actress is really top notch this year, and it's really hard to get in, so I just don't see it happening for her. But as I said, it's very stacked this year. You have Emma Stone, Lily Gladstone, Sandra Hüller, Carey Mulligan, and Fantasia. It's going to be really interesting to see how that goes down. But I can't wait to see Poor Things, to see if Emma Stone will stay at the top for me. But Lily Gladstone, she's rising up there. She's She was so good in Killers. Now we got Best Actor. I kept Cillian Murphy in the first position because it's probably my favorite performance of the year so far. And, you know, I think that this is his biggest performance of the year. It's his biggest film of all time. Oppenheimer is now the highest grossing biopic. It's made over like 950 million. And what he does in this film is simply spectacular. You know, he doesn't really have a lot of facial emotions in this one because he's struck with so much sadness and so much like regret of dropping these bombs. You know, he's a very his character has gone through a lot. I've read some of the book about Oppenheimer's life, and his character has gone through a lot. So it's very interesting to see how he acts in this film, but I think that Cillian did a great job in this movie. I've seen some people hold him in the second or third position, and I'm confused why that is. I don't think I've seen a performance issue that's as good as Cillian Murphy. And the acting performances, I've only seen 2 of these in the top 5 so far, so I can't really say too much. But Leonardo DiCaprio in Killers of the Flower Moon, as I said, it's Leonardo DiCaprio. He's going to give you an amazing performance. Why wouldn't he? He's one of the best actors in our generation. And I thought that his performance was really simply great. I thought it was going to be a little bit more. He didn't really have too many huge scenes. I think there was like 1 or 2. But he is really the bad guy of the film. So I really see them awarding kind of like the bad guy of the film. But I feel like he's definitely going to get nominated. I just don't see, Leonardo DiCaprio even entering that one position just because he doesn't really have that too many big scenes. I think it's Lily Gladstone's kind of movie. Paul Giamatti, I was going to move into the second position because Paul Giamatti just seems to be like a very likable character in the Holdovers I've read. And I've seen a lot of people say that, some people said that Paul Giamatti made them cry, and the Holdovers has a lot of sad scenes, has a lot of those Oscar moment scenes that I was talking about with like Leonardo DiCaprio. So I was tempted to move him second, but I'm going to wait till I see the Holdovers to see if that happens. But, people have just been talking about Paul Giamatti, been like, he's back. Paul Giamatti is back in a big role, and I'm happy that he's getting this awards recognition because Paul Giamatti is probably a really underrated actor, I'd say. Amazing Spider-Man 2 kind of ruined him for me. I still kind of just see him as the Rhino with that terrible accent, but I cannot wait to see him in this movie. Hopefully it hits me as hard as some other people, but I think he's going to get up there. Bradley Cooper for Maestro. I moved Bradley Cooper back in, and I moved Jeffrey Wright down because I think I was a little too fast on that Jeffrey Wright prediction. I think the trailer, I don't think Jeffrey Wright will get in after, kind of what that film feels like. Bradley Cooper, the Academy likes to nominate him. They don't like to give him the win. I don't think he's going to get the win because, his performance is probably going to be all out there, but I still see him get in for the nomination for Maestro. Just seems like, that Maestro is going to get in for the acting categories. Coleman Domingo for Rustin has been getting some pretty good acclaim from the, awards from the film festivals. I've been seeing some bad reviews for Rustin. I don't know if that's just people hating, but I've been seeing some lukewarm reviews for, I don't know if people have been giving it like amazing reviews. People have been saying Coleman Domingo is the best part of the film and he's going to get nominated. I have him at that 5 spot. I could move him down if I think someone else is stronger. But I think Rustin does come out next month, so I'll have my thoughts on that. As I said, I put Jeffrey Wright back down into the 6 just because I don't know if he's actually going to get in. I could only see American Fiction getting into maybe screenplay or picture. I don't really know if it's going to get into the actor position. It's kind of hard to tell at this point. I'm going to wait till I see that one. I'm not even sure when that comes out. I think December. They're kind of holding off for that one. I'm not sure if it's going to get delayed or not, but I think it looks pretty good. Barry Keoghan at 7 is also a very interesting one. I've been tempted to move that one up to 6 or 5 just because, Saltburn, it started out pretty divisive, but now it's kind of evened out. I think it's at like top 80s on Rotten Tomatoes. I've seen a lot more people see it on Letterboxd. My friends have been saying it's pretty great, and they're saying that Barry Keoghan brings in a terrific performance. I think Barry Keoghan is a very underrated actor because a lot of people don't know who he is, but he gave a kind of a scary performance in Killing of a Sacred Deer, and then Banshees, I think he gave a fantastic supporting performance, a very sad performance. So I can't wait to see him in this. I feel like he's going to be kind of like a crazy character. Kind of start out as one personality, then in the film as a crazy different personality. I feel like that's what the film's going to be. But I did say I saw the second trailer, and I don't know what the film's about, but I'm just in it for the style of the film because it looks very stylish, very up my alley. 8, I have Joaquin Phoenix. I didn't really know what to do with the 8 position, so I just put Joaquin Phoenix in there because, he's the big star of the film, and he's playing Napoleon. I mean, he's not going to get in, but I mean, I'd still put him in the race, but I still got Cillian on top. I just don't see a point in moving Killian. Paul Giamatti could move up, but still Killian in that first spot. Best Supporting Actress is also pretty stacked. You know, we were talking about this last month that Lily Gladstone moved from supporting to lead, and I was going to talk about this on this one too after I saw it, and I think she did the right decision. You know, she might not get the win, but I think she is, you know, the big lead of the film. She is the leading actress of the film. I don't think that her performance is supporting, even though she's not on screen as much as Leo. I think that she gives such a big performance that she is the leading role of the film. So I'm happy that she did pick to go to leading, but that just makes supporting kind of more interesting. I still have Divine Joy Randolph for The Holdovers in first, even though I haven't seen it. A lot of people said her performance is really great. I've been tempted to move Danielle Brooks up, but as I said, I don't know about The Color Purple. I don't know if it's going to be successful at the box office or get good reviews. It could just flop. It could just flop at the, you know, box office and critically. I don't see that happening critically, but box office, I could see that happening. I just think Divine Joy Randolph, you know, I think that she has a performance that a lot of people are really liking. Holdovers, as I said, people have said it's a very emotional film, so I still have that in first. Emily Blunt, I moved down to 3 because I don't really see Emily Blunt as kind of like a big supporting player, and she doesn't have too many moments, like Oscar-worthy moments. She has like 1 or 2 when she's talking to Jason Clarke at the table, but you know, that could be big enough to put her in there, and I think she will get nominated. I don't think it's going to be big enough for her to win. You know, I think that Taraji P. Henson for The Color Purple could happen, but sometimes I feel like she doesn't get nominated. And Viola Davis for Air, I moved her back in because, as I said, I put someone back in the 8th spot because I don't believe in that film anymore. But Viola Davis seems like she could actually get in. I don't know, though, because it has to do with if Amazon is going to bring back Air and, you know, put a campaign out for that one. I don't know if they're going to do that, but Viola Davis, I think she gave a terrific performance in Air. In the race, I have Julianne Moore for May December. I was so tempted to move her up to 5, but I'm going to wait till I see the movie. But, you know, everyone's been saying these performances in May December are great. You know, they're some of the best of the year. You know, it looks like that in the trailer. There's some very subtle performances, but they're very dark. You know, the characters have some very dark emotions going on. They're hiding stuff, which is very interesting. Julianne Moore, I haven't seen her in too much stuff lately, so this can be, you know, my first entry with her in a couple years, and I think that she will knock it out of the park. I'm so tempted to move her into the 5 spot. I'm tempted to take one of the Color Purple people out because I don't know if I see a double nomination for that kind of movie. It's a musical, you know, sometimes musical hit for the Academy, sometimes they don't hit. We're gonna have to wait and see. 7, I put America Ferrera because I didn't know if I wanted to take her out or not. She has one big Oscar moment. I don't see her getting into the top 5. A lot of people are saying I'm crazy and she's gonna get in. I just don't really see it. I don't see how she's going to get in. She doesn't have too much screen time, and she only has one big moment in the film. I really don't see her ever getting in to the top 5. 8, I put Jodie Foster for Nyad. I bumped her all the way down because Nyad is getting some very harsh reviews, very bad reviews, and I don't feel like the Academy will really care for that movie. I mean, Jodie Foster might give a terrific performance. It just comes down to if the Academy really cares about the movie and thinks the performance is better than that top 5. But I feel like that top 5 is standing there for a little bit. I don't know if The Color Purple will get double nominations. It just doesn't seem likely. So I would probably put Julianne Moore back in next month if May December is great, but I still have Divine Joy Randolph on top for that one. Next, we got Best Supporting Actor, probably my favorite category so far this year, and probably the one that has the most competition. Robert Downey Jr., I moved up to first. I bumped Ryan Gosling down to second, just because Robert Downey Jr., you know, he's been trying really hard for this award, and it's a big supporting actor performance. He has a lot of anger behind his role, and I really did love his performance. You know, Oppenheimer is the best picture kind of winner right now. I'd say it's going for that #1 spot. So Robert Downey Jr., I bumped it up just because of that, and I feel like his performance, the Academy will love that performance because, you know, they're all about that serious stuff, and his character is very serious in that position. You know, he gets his ass handed to him, let's just say that. I loved it when that happened in the film, so I bumped him up to that first spot. 2, I got Ryan Gosling. I said I did move him down just a little bit just because I'm worried about the comedy. I'm worried that they're not going to pick him to win because, you know, the Academy hates comedy sometimes. Sometimes they love comedy. I don't know, just depends if it's like dark comedy. This one is kind of like, Barbie's kind of like some dark comedy, but just like light comedy, I would say. 3, I put Mark Ruffalo for Poor Things. I did move him higher than Robert De Niro. I used to have Robert De Niro at 3, but I moved Mark Ruffalo up because just so many people are loving his performance. They're basically saying that Mark Ruffalo is kind of the Ryan Gosling of Poor Things, kind of like the same performance, kind of like same comedy-esque moments. They're saying that he's kind of dumb in the movie and has a really interesting, funny accent. So I'd say that the Academy would probably like Mark Ruffalo more than Ryan Gosling because of the type of film that Poor Things is compared to the type of film that Barbie is. I don't make the rules. I just, kind of know the Academy and know what they pick. So Mark Ruffalo, I could see him going higher once I see Poor Things, but still, it's like a month and a half out for me. Robert De Niro, I moved him down to 4 because I thought his performance was going to be a lot bigger. It's a lot more subtle. I still see him getting nominated. I just don't see him, rising in the ranks in that top 3 anymore. I used to have him at 3. I think it's just such a small performance, so subtle. I mean, it is supporting. Yeah, supporting actor is sometimes very small, but I expected some more heavy moments from him, some more like yelling moments from him, because it is a very like rude character, very angry character, a very mean character. But I didn't really see that. He tries to say good. He lies a lot, so that's very interesting. But I put him in the 4th spot. 5, I got Willem Dafoe. I still think that Poor Things will get that double nomination just because of how interesting these characters are and how many layers they have, because Mark Ruffalo is kind of that comedic one. I've heard Willem Dafoe is a little comedic too, but I've also heard that Willem Dafoe kind of serves as like the heart of the story. So you're going to have one of these nominations be the comedic performance and one of them be the heart. And I could really agree with that. I could really see the Academy going for that because Banshees did have a double supporting nomination last year, and that one was kind of like this film, I would say, because Poor Things is being sold as kind of like a comedy, drama, sad kind of film in types of ways. And Banshees was also kind of like that. It was a dark comedy. Poor Things, I guess you could say, is some dark comedy that adds a lot more to it. In the race, I got Dominic Sessa for The Holdovers. I moved him up a little bit because, as I said, The Holdovers is getting some great reviews. And this is actually Dominic Sessa's first big movie, I think. I'm not sure if it's his first acting role or first big movie. I think it's one or the other. And, it's interesting to see he's been getting like the biggest, hype from the movie. I mean, Paul Giamatti also, but I've been seeing Dominic Sessa as some people's favorite performance in the film. I think it's kind of impossible, sadly, for him to get into the top 5. The only way he would probably get in is if they dropped Robert De Niro or probably Willem Dafoe. I don't know if they'll drop either of those because, they're longevity kind of actors and Dominic Sessa still has to work up the ranks. But I'm going to wait till I see the holdovers for that one. Charles Melton for May December. As I said, the performances I've heard are excellent. But it's just so stacked for a supporting actor. I just don't see it happening. I see that the May December actors and actresses could get a lot of hype. I just maybe see only one of them getting in or none of them getting in. But Charles Melton, people have said that he's the best performance in the film too. So, this supporting actor category is so interesting. There's so much going on, so many different categories, so many different genres that everyone's going for. John McGarr for Past Lives, I think his time has passed. I don't want to be funny saying it that way, but I just don't think he's going to get in anymore. The time has passed. I got to stop saying past for Past Lives, but it's not going to happen for John McGarr. I mean, he gives a great performance, but I will say I think it's just too small of a performance for him to get in. So, supporting actor, though. Hyped. I'm hyped for supporting actor. Whoever wins is going to deserve it, I would say. But I'm going to be interested to see how this changes for me in the next couple months. Best director, I made just a few changes on this one. Christopher Nolan, I still have in first place for Oppenheimer because it's his biggest movie yet, I think. It's his biggest direction yet. I would say he has so many different moments in here that you could just pick apart and take apart. So many different scenes that he directed in such different ways. I feel like it's too big of a film for the Academy to just ignore. He's never gotten the best director win, I don't think. It's just pretty interesting. I'm just so interested how he's never won for director. I feel like this one could be his time to shine. As I said, magnum opus kind of film, biopic. The Academy loves those biopics. They love to award them for silly awards, but I feel like this one actually deserves it. So that's why I kept him first. 2, I moved up Martin Scorsese for Killers of the Flower Moon, because even though I said that this is a very tragic story and very hard to watch, I feel like the direction is really fantastic, really off the charts. And since it's 3.5 hours, you got to direct a film that's that long. That's a lot of scenes to direct, a lot of different direction to really put in the movie. So Martin Scorsese, I really loved his direction. It really kept me engaged throughout the movie. His direction, kind of goes with pacing. He paces the film really well. You know, he knows where to put the camera, knows how to direct the actors in the scenes. So I moved him up to 2. I moved Yorgos down to 3 just because I haven't seen it yet and I'm just waiting to see it to see if he moves up. But as I said, this movie could be a little weird for the Oscars. I see, you know, Christopher Nolan, Martin Scorsese being the easy 1 and 2, so I just wanted to go easy 1 and 2. But I think Yorgos could go up if you know, when all the critics see it, they all love it. But I'm very interested to see, you know, the Rotten Tomatoes is very high. I think it's like 96, but it has a small review count because it only screened at festivals. So I'm interested to see where the Rotten Tomatoes will go when it finally releases and it gets the hundreds of reviews. I'm very interested to see that. Alexander Payne for the Holdovers, you know, it's just Alexander Payne. He didn't get in for Downsizing, of course, but I bet he's going to get in for this. Jonathan Glazer for the Zone of Interest. A lot of people don't have him in for director. I'm close to moving him out because this film is, you know, very experimental, but I've heard the direction is outstanding, so I really kept him in there. Justine Triet for Anatomy of the Fall. I'm close to putting her in over Jonathan Glazer because it's a courtroom drama. Courtroom dramas always have some excellent, interesting direction, and I've heard that her direction here is very good. Greta Gerwig for Barbie. I don't think that she's going to get in. I'm tempted just to move her down or move her out. I just don't see it happening. Celine Song, Past Lives. I'm tempted to move her up 1 spot just because I think her direction is a little bit better than Greta Gerwig, but I think Greta Gerwig had more to do. But I think Celine Song's direction is interesting because it's her directorial debut. So I'm always interested to see if they give like a debut nomination. I just don't see it happening, but I would move Celine Song above Greta Gerwig probably in the next one, but I still have to think about it. But the director category is so interesting. I'm not going to say it's over, but I'd say Christopher Nolan still at the top for me. Now we're getting to some of the smaller categories. We have adapted screenplay. Oppenheimer, I still have first. Poor Things, I still have second. I think Oppenheimer has a great script. I've said that Oppenheimer is probably Christopher Nolan's best script. People are saying that Poor Things, though, has a great story, great script. I've read some of the book, and the book is outstanding. I don't really want to read anymore because I want to go in kind of fresh, and I don't really want to know the whole movie. But people have said that you know, adaptation is really good. So that could actually move up to number 1 when I see it, if I really think it's great, because sometimes Oppenheimer's script is kind of weak, but Poor Things I've heard has a great script. Killers of the Flower Moon, you know, I feel like the script is great because it keeps me entertained and it kept me really liking each character and what they're saying. And the pace is helped with that. You know, it's a 3.5-hour film. You got to have a good script for that. And the script really helped. I thought the script was great. Zone of Interest, I'm tempted to move that down. American Fiction, I don't really know. In the race, I do have All of Us Strangers, just because that one is very interesting. You know, it's played for a couple people. They said it's very heartbreaking also. You know, sometimes the Academy goes for those heartbreaking films. The Color Purple, as I said, what's up with The Color Purple? No one knows. We don't know yet. It's a mystery. Spider-Verse, I would love to see a nomination for that. I just don't see it happening. It's a very good script, though, I will say. Across the Spider-Verse, that's some of the best animation, you know, animated script I've ever seen for that movie. So I just don't see it happening, though. It's very interesting, though. Best Original Screenplay, I have The Holdovers in first. I think The Holdovers is probably going to be the strongest screenplay. And, you know, I just think that the reviews have been better for it than any movie on probably the original screenplay list. Past Lives, though, does have an amazing script. If I would to put, you know, 100% bet on a Past Lives nomination, it would probably be a screenplay, because original screenplay isn't as strong as adapted. It never really is. Barbie in 3, I still think Barbie's going to move out. I don't think the Academy is going to allow this. It's not an original screenplay. It's based off IP, just like many other movies that have tried to do this. This one's based off our original IP. Even though it's kind of an original idea, you're still basing it off an IP of characters that have already existed in other forms of media. So I think that's adapted, but it's an original right now. So number 3, Anatomy of Fall, courtroom drama. I'm tempted to move it up because it's just one of those films that has a lot of dialogue, so it's very interesting to talk about that one. 5, I moved in Saltburn, because Saltburn, it's so interesting how that just keeps getting better reviews the more it screens for people. It is a very weird film, as I've heard. I don't know what it's about. You know, all I heard is that, you know, this guy's friend is going to his estate, Saltburn estate. There's gonna be mysterious stuff happening there, so it's an interesting one to put in screenplay. In the race, I got Maestro. I think in that one can maybe move in if Barbie gets moved to adapted. May December, though, is one that I could see moving in slightly. It's kind of like Saltburn, kind of like a very mysterious film, kind of like a dark film. I could see dark movies getting in. You know, dark movies always get in a little bit. And then Air. Air is a very simple screenplay, but it works a lot on so many different levels. I just don't see that one getting in anytime soon. Cinematography is one of my favorite categories just because I love the technical aspect of cinematography. And if you have cinematography that's excellent, I feel like I like your film more just because I like to look at it a little bit more. And I like to look at some amazing shots. I just watched The Revenant for the first time, and that's probably some of the best cinematography I've ever seen. Just like Interstellar, Blade Runner 2049, I think cinematography just levels up a film even more. So it's kind of interesting. I love cinematographers and what they do for film. I think they kind of carry on the backs for the most part. And number one, I got Oppenheimer. Hoyte van Hoytema is coming for his Oscar. Hopefully he will get it this year. He got snubbed for a nomination last year for Nope because I thought Nope cinematography was like top 5 of the year. I was kind of confused at the cinematography nominations last year. It didn't make any sense because Nope got snubbed, Babylon got snubbed. It's interesting, but I feel like Hoyte will finally get his win. I feel like he deserved the win for Interstellar. Interstellar had some of the best cinematography I've ever seen. I don't know how he lost for that, but this Oppenheimer is just, there's some stunning shots in here. You got the black and white cinematography too. I think they'll eat that up. But Poor Things also has black and white cinematography, and it's also been getting a lot of talk for it. Killers of the Flower Moon I got in 3 just because I wasn't blown away by every single shot of that movie, because you know some shots are just, you know, the characters talking to each other, just those simple shots, but you do have those other exterior aerial shots of the land and all that, the oil rigs and all that, so it's very interesting. There's one of my favorite shots of the year is in that film. I'm not really going to give it away, but you know, you'll see it's kind of like a fire shot where people are seen in shadows in the distance. That's a very interesting shot in that one. I think Poor Things is a little bit stronger than Killers right now. 4, I got Saltburn. It's kind of one that I want to be nominated. It's not one that I really think will, but Linus Sandgren is behind the cinematography. He works with Damien Chazelle with La La Land, Babylon, and he did No Time to Die. He got snubbed for Babylon, which is insane. You know, the critics could hate Babylon all they want. They could hate the story. I don't know how you could hate the cinematography of Babylon. I don't know how that got snubbed. I feel like that totally deserved the win. Had best cinematography last year. And Saltburn, just from the trailers, the shots look terrific, especially in that 1:3 kind of aspect ratio that they're going for. It's a pretty interesting choice, but I'm here for it. Maestro has some black and white cinematography, and I feel like the shots from the trailer look interesting. I'm kind of waiting for that second trailer though to see how good the shots look. But in the race, the Zone of Interest, I think, has some very interesting shots in the trailer. This is a very interesting movie. The Color Purple, also, who knows about The Color Purple at this point? It's The Color Purple. Very mysterious film, as I said. El Conde, I watched this one for the first time. I didn't really like the film that much. I gave it like a 5 out of 10. I thought it was a little weak, but the cinematography was outstanding in it. You know, some aerial shots were pretty cool when he's like flying around. I just don't see it not getting nominated. It could be like a surprise nomination like Bardo was last year. I don't see it happening though. It would be pretty interesting. But as I said, I think Oppenheimer's still at the top. Next up, we got costume design. I got Poor Things over Barbie. A lot of people have been saying that Barbie has the best costumes of the year. But just from the trailer and Poor Things, I could see that those are the best costumes of the year. I think Barbie is staying in the 2 spot because I feel like a lot of the costumes are just too much of the same thing. And I get why, because it's Barbie and it's Ken. You know, the Kens have the same kind of costumes and the Barbies have the same kind of costumes. So no, I don't think it really works for me as a whole. And Poor Things, just, you can see from the trailer, everyone has a different costume. And Emma Stone is wearing so many different like costumes that just are so vibrant, so different, have so much going on, and they're kind of like old style costumes. You know, it's kind of a steampunk movie, so you're gonna have those interesting costumes. And I'm just digging it up. You know, that poster just right there above me, it's, look at that costume. That blue was just popping out the screen, all of her costume top of the screen. So I really see that in the 1. You know, Barbie is very financially successful. If it wins costume design, I'll probably be kind of confused because I just don't see the costumes being as great as Poor Things. And I've only made that assumption from the trailer, and the costumes are probably better in the whole movie. Killers of the Flower Moon, I'm waiting to see it again, but maybe next month you'll see it in the 2 spot because the costumes of the Osage Nation are just so cool, so interesting, have a lot of colors going on. There's so many different costumes because you have all the Osage people wearing different costumes, having people like Leonardo DiCaprio wearing very different costumes because they're not part of the Osage Nation. I just loved every costume in that movie. The Color Purple, it's a musical, going to have a lot of different costume changes, so you're of course going to get that with that one in there. 5, Wonka. I'm still holding out hope that Wonka can get in for just this one spot. Some costumes look a little gray, Willy Wonka. There's some scenes in that trailer that just have some very good costumes though, but I don't know if anything else could unseat it, because in the race I have Oppenheimer. You have a lot of different costumes in this movie, but some of them are just a lot of the same thing. Maestro, maybe, but it might be just a little plain. And Napoleon, I could see going up a little bit. I'm going to see it next month, so maybe that one could go up a little bit more. I'm just interested in that 5 to 8 spot and how it's just a lot of gray outfits and not a lot of colorful outfits. Saltburn is actually one that maybe could get in if I see it. So the costumes are pretty interesting because it's a weird movie. You're going to have interesting costumes, but I still got Poor Things on top. That really does to production design. I have Barbie at the top still, but I'm going to wait until I see Poor Things fully for this one. But the production in Poor Things is just outstanding. Barbie is, of course, some of the best of the year because it's all pink. They use like so much pink paint that the world ran out or something. I forget, there's like a national shortage, and I feel like everything in Barbie Land is so cool, so realistic, but then you go to the real world and it all just looks plain. I mean, I guess that's the point because it's supposed to look plain and so like gray and all that, but once you get to Barbie Land, it looks fantastic. Everything looks so real. Kind of everything looks like a miniature, which is interesting. But Poor Things, I've heard a lot of great things about production design. I feel like they shot mostly on location for that one, so they probably just added a little bit of extra stuff for that one. But I am going to wait. I'm going to keep Barbie in first. I'm going to wait. I'm not going to base Poor Things off the trailer for this one because I can't really see all the sets and all that just from the trailer. 3, I got Oppenheimer because it's a huge movie, 3-hour epic. Same with Killers of the Fire Moon. I really did love the production design of that movie, and it's 3.5-hour movie. You have a lot of different sets in that movie that they go to, a lot of different locations. 5, I got The Color Purple because you can see in the trailer it's kind of digging into the musical aspect where you're going to like these fake locations that they're kind of dreaming about. I think that's how it's working. I really do like that set design. Napoleon could get in. It could be its only nomination, but if you get in once, I guess it's good for you. But I like the production design. It looks a little gray. Wonka also looks a little gray, but I do like some of that production design with like Willy Wonka's chocolate factory and all that. Asteroid City, it's some of my favorite production design of the year, but I feel like it's just that movie's worn out. The Academy doesn't really care about Wes Anderson too much after Grand Budapest Hotel, but still, I feel like that could be interesting if it could get in, but I still have Barbie at the first spot. Best editing, I'll probably go through pretty fast because Oppenheimer, I think, has the best editing. Poor Things, Killers, I've been kind of switching them both. I just kept Poor Things at number 2. The Holdovers, Holdovers looks pretty good. Anatomy of a Fall, courtroom drama, always had pretty good editing, and I think it's still going to get in. And Ferrari, I've heard the editing is kind of all over the place, so I'm not sure if that's going to get in. Barbie has some pretty great editing. Napoleon could actually go higher once I see it, but editing isn't really my strong suit. I don't really pay attention to much editing. I think Oppenheimer still has that one in the bag though. Best sound, on the other hand, Oppenheimer, of course, is in the first position. Just, all that stuff in like the quantum realm is so interesting. Killers of the Fire Moon, I will say after seeing it, the sound is excellent. I loved every single like sound effect in that movie. Across the Spider-Verse has some great sound effects. I really did love everything that they're doing with the sound. The Killer, it's going to be interesting to see how that one does. Some of the reviews have been pretty bad. Some have been excellent. Might be pretty divisive. Ferrari, it's a car movie. Could see that get in for sound. Color Purple, no one knows. The Creator might have to be bumped out soon because it's not getting the best reviews. I liked it a lot. John Wick Chapter 4 is one that I would like to see it get nominated for. That would be pretty cool to see John Wick Chapter 4 be nominated in a couple categories. I'm interested to see if they're going to do an awards campaign, because if they do, I'd be tempted to move it in for a couple of these categories like score and cinematography. I feel like it could get in. Oppenheimer, though, I still feel like it's unmatched for sound. Visual effects, though, is a pretty interesting one. I didn't make any changes this month. I still want to stick it out. I want to see The Creator one more time to see if I have any different thoughts in it, but I still have The Creator in first. I think it has the most flawless visual effects of the year so far that I've seen. I just love the effects of like the back of the head is like robot, and you can really see it. It's so seamless. Guardians 3, though, I think is some of the best visual effects in the Marvel Universe. I think the workers on this one did a great job. Some of the visual effects in Marvel haven't been that great, but I feel like they did a great job with letting him work for this movie. And, you know, I've seen some behind the scenes, and there's so many different layers in the visual effects in this movie. I think it has some of the most visual effects of the year so far, and I feel like this one could move into first if I rewatch both of those top 2 films soon. Rebel Moon, it's going to be a lot of visual effects in this one, so I feel like it's easily going to get nominated. Across the Spider-Verse has a decent amount of visual effects. Dungeons and Dragons, though, I want to keep this one in, but I don't feel like, you know, it's too strong to really get nominated. It didn't do that well at the box office. I don't even know if a lot of people saw it. Mission Impossible could get in. It has those simple visual effects. Little Mermaid has some pretty great visual effects. I like the visual effects of that one. And Transformers: Rise of the Beast, you know, a Transformers film, I think it's probably... the visual effects just keep getting worse for those films, though, so I just don't see that one getting in. I think it's kind of between the creator and Guardians 3 at the moment. Best score, I still have Oppenheimer. Oppenheimer's score is some of the best score I've ever heard in like the last 5 years. It's so good. Ludwig did an amazing job. I feel like he's going to get the Oscar for this one. Every single song you can really replay, and I really think that's a big deal for score if you can play the soundtrack without the movie itself. I feel like Oppenheimer, I've done that a lot. Can you hear the music is one of my favorite pieces in that score, so it's interesting. Across the Spider-Verse, I feel like this one will get nominated. It's not going to win, but if Oppenheimer wasn't here, I feel like Across the Spider-Verse could be a decent win, even though the Academy sometimes hates animation. But the score is so good. Like, it has so many different instruments going on. There's like a duck in one of the parts of the score. It's all over the place, but it all fits together in this like crazy little movie that they got. Killers of the Flower Moon has a great score. It's very subtle, and I really liked it a lot. It's a small score at times, but if it has to go there, it does go there. But as I said, it's a very subtle score. I think Oppenheimer is such a bigger score that it's easily gonna be higher than Killers. Poor Things, I've heard decent bit about the score, but I want to wait until I see that movie to move it up. Past Lives, I'm kind of almost moving it down just because the score doesn't really stick with me. Zone of Interest, I've heard good things about the score. Elemental is one that I would like to move up. I just don't see a point in doing that because I don't think the Academy would nominate 2 animated films for score, even though I'd love them to do it. I just don't see it happening, but I feel like Elemental has some of my favorite score of the year so far. And The Killer, just from the trailer, you can hear that score, man. It's a fast-moving score, very interesting score. I really do like it, but I'm going to wait till I see that one. But Oppenheimer, it's easily in the first spot. And our last category is probably my least favorite category to do because I never know all the songs that have come out. But as original song, I have 3. I'm Just Ken for Barbie. Ryan Gosling sings his heart out. I want him to perform this at the Oscars. I want him to win. If he doesn't win, I'll be really frustrated because I think this is the best song of the year so far. What Was I Made For is okay. You know, it's not really, you know, it maybe means a lot for the movie, but I just don't think that really fit in the movie at all. I'm Just Ken fit so much because it's a comedy song. What Was I Made For is really a drama song. Barbie's kind of a comedy kind of movie. This Wish, you know, I think a Wish song is easily going to get in. It's a Disney movie. You're going to have a Wish song. The Color Purple could have some songs, but I said The Color Purple, it's weird right now. We can't really talk about it because no one's seen it. I really wish they played that at the festival so we would know, but I do see a Color Purple song getting in eventually. But I'm Just Ken. I'm leaving it at the top, but that's my Oscar predictions for October. As I said, leave yours down below in the comments. If you did enjoy this video, make sure to leave a like, share this with your friends. It helps it a lot, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.